Hey everybody, it's Julie. Thanks for joining me here on the Creative Retreat YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing some Bible journaling here in my interleaved Bible with the May Faith Art Collection called My Refuge. I'm beginning by doing some splattering on my page and getting just a little background. I'm also using that ink. This is called Plum Baroque. It's a Creative Retreat ink. And I just applied it on my Bible mat. You could use any kind of plastic and wet it and pick it up with a paintbrush. And you can see I'm splattering. I painted with it to highlight my verse. And I'm here in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verses 1 and 2. And it says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." On screen here, I have used a couple of the journaling cards from the Faithfilled digitals, and I've cut out some of those pieces as well, like the tab, some of the word fetty. You can see the bottom journaling card, I've placed some of the word fetty on it. I'm going to end up not using that card. I'm just going to use the peach colored one up at the top that has the verse written on it. So this whole devotional is about God as our refuge. And a refuge is something that provides protection, something you take shelter in, safety and security. And God is our refuge. It reminds me of a dog I used to have that was terrified of storms. And whenever a storm would come, he would hide. Actually, if a storm was coming before we even knew it, he would hide under the bed, under the table, anywhere he could hide to take shelter so that he could feel safe from that storm. And a refuge, the word refuge means to take shelter, to find protection from a storm, from troubles. And if we consider spiritually, this world, this life has storms, it has struggles, and God doesn't promise that He will take us out or that we won't have struggles and storms in life, but He does promise to be our refuge. He promises to be with us and to provide shelter and protection and security during those storms. So back on screen here, I have taken that ink, the Plum Baroque. I've outlined my journaling cards. You could see I used several of the elements from the Faithfilled digitals, and here I'm using a couple of the stamps. I made a little cluster up at the top of my page, and I'm cutting out some of the labels. And now I've stamped that flower onto some white cardstock, and I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to make a little cluster down here at the bottom of the page, and this little cluster could actually serve in a smaller Bible, like a 2-inch margin. You could do that since I'm using a larger page. And actually this page was very, it's not where I thought I was going to go with it, but it just kind of serendipitously, organically turned into what it is. So here I'm using, again, a lot of the Faithfilled digital elements, the printables, and then I stamped out that flower, and then I'm using the words My Refuge. So I'm using the stamp for refuge, and I'm stamping it first on my page, even though I'm going to put that label down. But when you stamp over a label, like this is cardstock, you don't always get a clean image. So I'm stamping it first on my page, and then I'm going to put the label down like this, and then come back and stamp over it. You do need to make sure to line it up, but that's the beauty of these clear stamps and the clear blocks. And then I stamped the flower, and I went ahead and just stamped off the image, second generation stamping, onto my page there so I can have a guide as I'm placing all of my other elements, my title, around it. I'm using some of the wonky hearts and little tiny circle hearts, and it says, "My God, my refuge." Now I'm going to end up not using that black stamped word refuge. I just felt like it needed some of that color, that pink. So I go back over it with that sticker and the cardstock sticker. And then I'm just going to finish up my little section here, trying to find balance with all of the little elements. And sometimes these little stickers go on a little bit wonky, and I wanted it to be a little bit straighter. So I have here, again, this is an interleaved Bible, and it has a full page in between each page of text. I started off, my first thoughts were that I was going to be in my smaller Bible with just the 2-inch margin, and then I wanted to use these 2 journaling cards. So I switched over to this Bible, and then I started that process. And I end up not even using both of these journaling cards. I just focus on the one here, the peach color one with the Bible verse. And then I'm going to use that other one that I created with the list and the word fetty. I'm going to just use that probably in my little mini Bible, so I can just stick it straight in there. So there we go. I'm going to stick that on there. I love that clean look of the background. I'm kind of into that right now. Not doing a whole lot on the background. I'm outlining my elements. I'm going to do some journaling here. And what I say is, Lord, may I always dwell in your shelter and shadow. I will trust in your love and protection. Amen. So I decided I wanted to have this patterned swatch, and this is from the digitals, and I decided that I wanted that across my page just to anchor that journaling card, provide a little bit more color and pop to this page. And again, it just kind of anchored that journaling card. You can see on the back where I did stamp the word refuge. It does bleed through, kind of shadowed through. That's because I used my Versafine Onyx black ink, which I love that, but it does bleed through usually. There we go. I'm using my Barely Art craft glue to adhere all of my elements. And that little piece of cardstock that I cut off, I decided to use it. I trimmed it down, and it's going to be a mat for my label down there with my date stamp. So this is pretty much it. You can see I also put a sticker over by my verse to make the 2 pages coordinate. And there we go. That's it for my page. Pretty easy. I will have all of my products linked that I use in the description box. Be sure to check out the other videos from the gals on this team. Some wonderful content using this collection. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much. God bless. Bye-bye.